Here we have Brain2Logic's starting page. Firstly, we start to upload our source data. So it's like our first stage. So we can add some data. We have different options how to do that. We can upload as a flat file, for example, XLS or CSV. We can use API. So API integration, you can post this data to the system and get forecast back. Or you can have some direct integration with Anaplan. I will show later. Here we upload some Excel. We can use also options to add some external data, for example, some weather forecast or some, for example, exchange rates if we need. And we can also choose some S3 object storage. For example, if we have some files on Amazon or another storage systems. And also we can have some additional instrument as mixing and processing. This case, when we want to merge two data sets together, we can have some cleaning. For example, we can choose different sources. We have some options, pre-process data, merge, add source. So they have some like simple instrument to do all these merges and to combine to the final sources for training. After we upload our sources, we go to stores page. Here we have some, we call this story because we have different cases how to deal with. So it's not only models, but how to deal different cases. We add new model. We choose our source of data. For example, we have some sales, for example, this one. We have some sales we uploaded. We can show the sales, what's the trend, what's the cycles. We can use what type of forecast we will use. I will show later another one forecast, but we have 4 types, as we mentioned before: time series, regression, clustering. We choose, we have this all our data, and we choose columns. For example, these columns we use for monthly value or daily sales and so on. And we should use a forecast column to make predictions. And also we have additional features. We can add some external features to our forecast to improve accuracy. Some, for example, binary features, it's relates, for example, to promo actions. When we get some data about which days were promo or not, some ordinal features, it relates to features as, for example, when we put sizes of clauses, when we forecast closes sales, and we, for example, to use for SKUs as size as small, medium, large, and so on. Nominal features, it relates to, for example, to region or color, or another one when we don't have any relations between features. And numerical, it's general, for example, when we include some temperature to our forecast and we want to have some like relation between this. Also in our forecast, we have some like simple filtering. For example, we can smooth some data if we have very high frequency of changes in our data. Also have some things as variance smoothing. It relates to smooth some trends in data, so you can easily do. We have some data offset. So to make it more predictable, our data set, and also it's helps to like some companies. In addition, we have some model selections parameters. We have a lot of things we can tune. For example, we can eliminate negative values. We can include accuracy on training and different algorithms how to improve. For example, we can use different things, additional columns. We have some more I think complex models how to optimize our accuracy or include different scales, or in case of classification, we have some optimization models like to tune hyperparameters, and also in each models, all models are open sourced. So we have links to this model, so you can see how these models, what model we use, so don't have any black box in our instrument. And also you can see all the models, all the hyperparameters we use. You can tune them if you need, but by default, Brain2Logic finds the best hyperparameters options, so you don't do that. So it's more advanced stuff if you need to adjust some models. And after we have some story, we say it's like forecast sales, and we choose to choose best model, but you can use choose some specific models or several models if you need. We choose like best models in our case, and after we start training, so we say start train. After that, these models started to train. You can see these cells, and after it was trained, you can have generate different forecast. For example, if we take current model, for example, we can choose. We have some forecast for 12 months. We can choose to 24 months. So you also can choose different models to see how our forecast changed, depends on the model we use. So it's very interesting. Also, you can have some interesting thing to change your hyperparameters on the run. So you can, for example, choose different parameters and see how the models change. For example, it's not always it's very small changes here. And after that, you can download your forecast. You can upload it to Anaplan or like integrate with different systems. If we go to the Anaplan example, how to integrate Brain2Logic with Anaplan. Here we have some like demo example how to do that. So we have like a button to train, and if we press the button, we go to the Brain2Logic page, and so you can see that we import some data from Anaplan table, so it's ready to train. And after we train our model, we have back integration to get this forecast, and here we prepare some forecast for this data set, and so you can import back to the Anaplan, and you can see this. There are different SKUs, so you can use different algorithms, and for a lot of range of SKUs.
I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so this, is this something you will always do, or is it at the end also that the client will do this? Because it looks quite complicated. So where does let's say the consultant end and the client start?
Yeah, any project we start to consult a client how to deal with the systems, how to train the model. In general, you don't need any deep knowledge in machine learning, so the system helps. Also, we have a lot of like links about these algorithms we use, so it will help. So in general, you don't need like special knowledge of this, but anyway, we start project with the client together, like to produce first forecast together. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have here, like, if you don't understand what profit means, how Serimax works, you can't work with these parameters. So with the most simple stuff is like in PlanIQ, just work with the best model. So they do not work in this interface that you see, but they work in Anaplan and just get the best forecast based on the type of accuracy we can choose. Yeah, what type of
Yeah.
But
so the setup is something you do. So you discuss, okay, which methodology is the best to do the forecast, and then that stays as is for a certain time period.
Yeah, but if we see this interest of business analysts that they need to understand how these complex algorithms work, because they need to explain it to the C-level. They can't just take the best. They can't do interpretation of this. So that's why it's like educational stuff. Yeah, they can use. They interested in. Yeah, I have this box best forecast, but I can go one step further with this. But in general, you're right. We do in the project we need specific results, but after that, like with Anaplan, we do internal center of competence. Here, like this business analyst, or few of them, they can develop it by themselves using these open parameters.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And shortly I will show like another several examples. For example, when we work with weather, it's an example where we used neural network, so it's very hard to predict sales. It's sales of bicycle renting in London. So we use also temperature in London, and we have like very strong correlation how sales of bicycle renting according to the weather. So in this case, we it's very positive to use this data to improve accuracy for our forecast. Anyway, we should also post data of weather forecast in our model in addition. Yeah. From clustering case, for example, not this one. Yeah, this one. Yeah, we have some data set about people with income and how they spend the money. So we have and our task to divide this data set to 3 segments. So we use different algorithms to do that. For example, KNN or agglomerative clustering. So it helps us to divide using math our clusters into 3 groups without development of borders of different groups. For example, we can do it on my cell, but it's much more simpler to use machine learning.
Can I ask something about this one? So is it also possible in Anaplan to, let's say, that you let let the algorithm even determine the number of groups you want to cluster in. So not have fixed 3 groups, but you say like, okay, just find me the optimal solution, where you've, it's also an optimization problem issue, or something in the end, because it could be that based on indeed how based on the income and the spend, you want to forecast something else, right? So is it possible to have, in essence, machine learning or Anaplan, or how would you call it, estimate that? What is the best optimal number of groups to cluster?
In general, algorithms use they have like some range of features of data set, and they try to divide. For example, we say that we want 5 groups or 10 groups, and algorithm tries to define more suitable way these groups into 10 groups, and as I know, you can do that in planning queue, but it also, you only need some like external machine learning system to do that, or to write your own code, to prepare this, clustering.
Yeah.
Another problem, it's regression task. It's a case when we have some like here a data set when we want to make some predictions. For example, how to produce different, you have here linear regression. So you want to make some prediction of price depending on the level. Here it's the data set of salaries of one company, where you want to produce some forecast how much new employer will have remuneration, depends on the level of the employee. So you also can use this for price optimization. For example, when you want to forecast the price for a new product, it's very like useful, and also use like different algorithms. And so it's very classical case.
Can I ask again something? So what you showed is indeed, let's say you have the salary and let's say the level, and then there are, let's say, known algorithms, like whether you do it linear or with a square root function, or just allow certain trends in it. What do you do, let's say, if you then sort of retrain the model, because it's sort of already how do you say it, methods?
You should, for example, in here, you should change the model. For example, you should upload new data to your model and to press the train the model. So when you have new data set, for example, after new sales actuals you got, you should retrain your model, and new models are trained, and you can produce new forecast, maybe new, more accurate. Also, you can use, you can also add additional columns to your data set to improve accuracy of your forecast. For example, you can use, if we say about employer, you can use like additional factors as, for example, education, age.
So you indeed enrich your data set, but I sort of try to think what is really the training part here, as in how do I say it? You also could hit the button and then it sort of says recalculate, right? If it's already predefined methods and you indeed know what it should do, and you enrich your data set, it has more data, then it's not really training the model. You just have your data, you hit retrain. But when I think of machine learning and think about training certain, if you train your algorithm, you are very specific in what kind of peaks you do and do not expect, and try to narrow that down based on the data. But now you have predefined methods, and then you add data, which is perfectly fine, but within the method that's already allowed. So then it's actually sort of the same as rerun or indeed recalculate your forecast, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You also can, for example, change if you know that some models are more accurate. You can turn off another models to make your calculation faster. So you don't need just one, or tuning your models specific to, for example, model regression. You have some additional features as like cross-validation. We can only see it in regression task, so you can adjust your forecast.
It's not that I do think this looks really good, but I try to figure out what is actually the training part, let's say.
You can try and like to check results. You can also, for example, duplicate your model and to test, for example, what will be if I change some hyperparameters. So you can some like game with your models, to produce better results.
Perfect. Thank you for your time.
For classification model, we have some, for example, cases. I will show. For example, we have some data set for wholesale customer marketing campaign. In this case, we want to produce some, for example, forecast which client will get the promo we offer to them. So in this case, we have some historical data set from wholesaler. So we have some marketing activities data set where we see client, we can see client base and get using machine learning some features of clients who decided to use this promo. And this is very useful because when we have new clients, we can make some predictions which clients will get this offer, and to make some more targeting marketing, so we can target our emails, for example, to more specific clients, and to have some more turnover, and it's very useful in marketing cases. It's I think all about models.